I sentence you to life in confinement without parole.
That's f***ing horse shit. You do whatever the f*** you want.
Why are they shutting my mic off?
I'm the federal witness of the United States federal government. I demand some goddamn respect, you. All I did was trespass on property.
Ma'am, you gotta create the community that you want to live in.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're on the record for first appearances today. Can I have appearances for the state?
Alex Card for the state.
And for defense?
Janelle Clark on behalf of the Public Defender's Office.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Judge Tom Young. I'm covering for Judge Jan Savage today for these first appearances. I have reviewed all of the paperwork in advance. I am going to provisionally appoint the public defender to represent everyone there at the jail. Today, you're entitled to be represented by a lawyer. If you wish to have appointed counsel, you can complete an affidavit of indigent status. If you qualify, the court will, at that point, unconditionally appoint counsel to represent you. Otherwise, you are entitled to hire your own attorney. But today, for today's purposes, the public defender is provisionally appointed. All right, so I have only one case that apparently needs the assistance of the interpreter. Are there any others?
Yes, Your Honor, I have 4 cases that need the assistance of the interpreter.
Okay, can you identify those for me, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Diana Herrera Valencia.
All right, let me find that one. Okay.
Hector Luna Aponte.
All right, I have him.
Miguel Torres Vega.
Right, give me a moment to find Mr. Torres Vega. All right, I have him.
And then Felix Burgos.
All right, I believe he was the last one in the list. Excellent, okay. All right, let me get the interpreter.
Your Honor, one other thing, I have 3 people who said they have private attorneys. I don't know if you have any privates in the room.
No.
Okay.
No privates today.
Okay, thank you.
Who are those individuals?
One is Tony Norris. The other one is Yuri Contreras Uribe. I don't think I pronounced the last name right.
Okay.
And then the other one is Diana Herrera Valencia.
Okay, one of the interpreter cases.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me get the interpreter on the line.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barrera. I'm in Judge Jan Savage's courtroom to do first appearances from the Osceola County Jail. We have 4 individuals who need the assistance of the interpreter.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So the first case will be Hector Luna Aponte, 2022 CT 1414. Good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, caballero. Good afternoon.
Sir, you were arrested for the charge of driving while licensed suspended.
Caballero, usted fue arrestado por un cargo de conducir con licencia suspendida.
I reviewed the affidavit of arrest, and I do find probable cause.
Revisé la affidavit de su arresto, determinó que existe motivo fundado.
I announced previously that I have provisionally appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Yo había anunciado anteriormente que voy a designar las oficinas del defensor público para que lo representen.
If you wish to have court-appointed counsel and you qualify, the court will appoint counsel unconditionally after you complete the required affidavit, if you qualify.
Si usted necesita que se le designe el defensor público después del día de hoy, el tribunal le puede designar al abogado defensor público si usted completa la solicitud y reúne requisitos.
All right. You qualify for direct pretrial release.
Usted cumple requisitos para la libertad vigilada directa o libertad provisional directa.
So I'm going to modify the bond and order your release on pretrial release conditions.
Voy a modificar la fianza y darle su libertad bajo las condiciones de libertad provisional.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Señoría,
with his lack of history, would he qualify for an ROR?
con su falta de antecedentes penal, ¿le reúne requisitos para libertad bajo palabra?
Do I have pretrial release there at the jail?
El Departamento de Libertad Provisional se encuentra ahí en la cárcel.
All right.
Sí, señoría.
Would you announce your appearance, please?
¿Puede anunciar su comparecencia, por favor?
All right, thank you. What can you tell me about Mr. Luna Aponte?
¿Qué me puede relatar usted sobre el caballero Luna Ponte?
Mr. Luna Aponte has very minimal history from 2007. He did score a low risk on our risk assessment. He does live in the state of Florida. He does qualify for an RR or a direct PTR.
El señor Luna Ponte es un mínimo riesgo. Él tiene un bajo riesgo en la evaluación que se le hizo en 2007. Él vive en la Florida y puede cumplir con libertad bajo palabra o libertad provisional. O libertad bajo palabra.
What county does he live in?
¿En qué condado vive él?
In St. Cloud, Your Honor.
Osceola County.
Osceola.
Okay.
En el condado Osceola, en el pueblo de St. Cloud.
Sir, is your address on Mary Frances Drive?
Caballero, la dirección suya se encuentra en Mary Frances Drive.
Albert Beach. The license is the Albert Beach. Yeah, the license is the Albert Beach.
Were you able to hear, Mr. Interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor, the defendant is speaking or attempting to speak in English.
Oh. Sir, I need for you to speak in Spanish because I'm not able to hear you and
Caballero, necesito que usted hable solamente, conteste solamente en español, porque de otros modos no le puedo escuchar. Okay.
So is your permanent address on Mary Frances Drive?
Entonces, su dirección actual, la dirección permanente se encuentra en Mary Frances Drive.
No, Albert Beach.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter is not able to understand what the defendant is attempting to say.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm going to order on pretrial release conditions. I think that's fair.
Entonces, no vamos a seguir en esto. Simplemente le voy a dar condiciones de libertad provisional.
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
And my apologies, Your Honor.
No worries. All right, the next case we have is Diana Carolina Herrera Valencia. This is case number 2019 CF 1144. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Buenas tardes, señora. Good afternoon.
Ma'am, you were arrested on a violation of probation warrant. It's in my division, but it was signed by another judge. You have been arrested on the charge of violating Condition 5 of the order of probation by failing to live without violating any law.
Just a moment, Your Honor. My apologies.
Go ahead.
Señora, usted fue arrestada por una orden de arresto emitida por un incumplimiento de libertad vigilada. Ese caso se encuentra en mi división, pero la orden fue firmada por otro juez por incumplimiento de la condición 5 de volver a incumplir la ley y cometer otro delito.
The state alleged that you committed the crime of burglary of an occupied dwelling with an assault or battery on April 18th in Orange County.
La fiscalía está alegando que usted cometió un allanamiento con una agresión en el condado de Orange el 18 de abril.
You qualify as a violent felony offender of special concern, and therefore there is no bond.
Usted reúne requisitos para un ofensor violento de extrema preocupación y por lo tanto usted no reúne requisitos para una fianza.
I previously announced that I have appointed the public defender to represent you temporarily.
Anteriormente había anunciado que estaba designado a las oficinas del defensor público para que los represente de manera provisional.
But the public defender advises that you are represented by a private attorney. Do you have counsel for this specific case?
Pero el defensor público me ha indicado que usted ya ha contratado un abogado particular. ¿Usted tiene representación legal para este caso en específico?
Sí.
Yes.
Who is that?
¿Quién?
No me sé el nombre de mi abogado.
Clarification, Your Honor. Repítame de nuevo despacito y en voz alta, por favor.
No sé el nombre de mi abogado porque lo contrató mi hija.
No, it's a new attorney. My daughter hired him.
For this case or for the Orange County case?
¿Es para este caso o el caso en el condado de Orange?
Para los dos.
For both.
All right, so I will withdraw the provisional appointment of the public defender in this case then.
Entonces voy a retirar la designación del defensor público en este caso.
Do we have a court date, Madam Clerk?
¿Usted tiene la fecha de comparecencia, secretaria?
May 16, 11 a.m.
Your next court date will be May 16th at 11 a.m. in this case.
La próxima fecha de comparecencia será el 16 de mayo a las 11 de la mañana en este caso.
Thank you.
Okay, gracias. And Your Honor, my apologies. Could the interpreter request a confirmation of the last name? It was Valencia, and I missed the second last name.
Well, I think Valencia was the the second last name. It was Herrera Valencia.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, the next individual will be Mr. Miguel Angel Torres Vega. This is 2018 CF 703.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, caballero. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Sir, you were apparently arrested for violation of probation.
Aparentemente usted fue detenido por el cargo de incumplimiento de libertad vigilada.
The problem I've noticed, however, is that there is no warrant filed in Benchmark, so I have not been able to determine the nature of the alleged violation or, for that matter, if in fact a warrant exists.
Pero el problema que existe es que no veo en la aplicación de Benchmark que exista una orden de arresto y por lo tanto no puedo determinar cuál fue el incumplimiento o si de hecho fue emitido una orden de arresto.
I assume that a warrant was issued because law enforcement purports to have executed the warrant.
Voy a asumir que existe una orden de arresto porque los agentes del orden público pudieron ejecutar esa orden.
But the Department of Corrections has not filed the warrant as of about an hour ago.
Pero el Departamento de Correcciones no ha radicado esa orden hasta una hora atrás.
Sir, I have previously announced that I have provisionally appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Señor, anteriormente yo había indicado que estaba designado a las oficinas del defensor público de manera provisional para que lo representen.
If you qualify and wish to be represented by court-appointed counsel, I need you to complete the required financial affidavit, and the court will unconditionally appoint an attorney at that time, if you qualify.
Si usted reúne requisitos y desea que se le designe el defensor público de manera sin condiciones, necesita completar la solicitud y si reúne requisitos se le puede designar.
You also have the right to hire private counsel if you wish.
También tiene el derecho a contratar un abogado particular si lo desea.
I'm going to reset this first appearance because the missing warrant is significant in my eyes.
Voy a aplazar esta comparecencia inicial porque la falta de una orden de arresto es algo significante en mi opinión.
All right, Ms. Parker, is there anything else I need to address?
Licenciada Parker, ¿hay algo más que hay que enfocar?
Yes.
Ms. Clark, sorry.
Ms. Clark, I'm sorry. I thought you said Parker.
No, Your Honor. I don't think he's eligible for pretrial release, and you want to reset it, so no, Your Honor.
I want to reset it. He would qualify as a violent felony offender of special concern or under Jessica Lunsford Act, I believe. So I don't believe he's going to be eligible, but that's why I'm resetting it, because I want to verify the warrant, and Mr. Card will, I'm sure, be looking into that.
No creo que reúna requisitos para la libertad provisional, ya que él se está designado como un ofensor violento de peligro especial y por lo tanto no reuniría requisitos, pero de todos modos por eso lo quiero aplazar hasta el día de mañana.
All right, Ms. Clark, I apologize for mishearing your name.
It's okay, Your Honor, no problem.
All right, thank you, sir.
Gracias, caballero.
And then our fourth individual who needs the assistance of the interpreter is Mr. Felix Burgos, 2022 MM994. Good afternoon, sir.
Bueno, caballero.
Sir, you were arrested for the charge of misdemeanor battery, domestic violence.
Señor, usted fue arrestado por el delito menor de violencia doméstica por agresión.
There is probable cause as found by a prior judge who issued the warrant, and I agree with that determination.
Se determinó motivo fundado por un juez anterior y yo estoy de acuerdo con esa determinación.
I previously announced that I have provisionally appointed the public defender to represent you.
Yo he anunciado anteriormente que estoy designando a las oficinas del defensor público que lo representen a usted de manera provisional.
If you qualify for court-appointed counsel, the court will unconditionally appoint counsel after you complete the required financial affidavit.
Si usted reúne requisitos y desea que se le designe el defensor público sin condiciones, necesita completar la solicitud y si reúne requisitos se puede designar.
You also have the right to hire private counsel if you wish.
También si usted lo desea puede contratar un abogado particular.
All right, so you qualify for pretrial release conditions with a bond.
Señor, usted reúne requisitos para la libertad provisional con una fianza.
All right, so I'm going to set your bond at the amount of $500 with pretrial release conditions.
Voy a programar su fianza $500 con condiciones de libertad provisional.
The conditions of bond are that you may not have contact with the alleged victim.
Condiciones de su libertad. No se le permitirá contacto con la presunta víctima.
You must maintain a separate residence.
Tiene que mantener una residencia separada.
You may return to the shared residence one time with law enforcement to obtain personal effects.
Se le permitirá regresar una sola vez a la residencia compartida acompañado de un agente del orden público para recopilar sus pertenencias personales.
And you may not possess any weapons or firearms while the case is pending.
Y mientras que el caso esté pendiente, no se le va a permitir a usted portar armas de fuego o armas blancas.
Ms. Clark, is there anything further I need to address?
Licenciada Clark, ¿algo más que haya que enfocar?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, señores, muchas gracias.
Mr. Card?
Nothing further.
Have a good afternoon. God bless you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Interpreter, would you ask the chapel at the jail if there's anyone else who needs the assistance of the interpreter?
Certainly, Your Honor. Su atención, por favor, si hay alguna otra persona presente que necesite los servicios del intérprete, por favor, alce la mano en este momento.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Have a good afternoon.
Hold on.
Let me get his name, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
That was close, Judge.
That's all right.
Leonardo Rodriguez Nunez.
All right, let me find that one. Here he is, 2021 CT 1686. And it's Leonardo Rodriguez Nunez.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, caballero. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon.
Sir, you were arrested on an out-of-county warrant.
Señor, usted fue arrestado por una orden de arresto que fue emitida de otro condado.
Sí, eso es correcto. Pero
That's correct.
Yeah. So you were arrested for failure to appear, and your bond is set at $2,000.
El cargo de falta de comparecencia, su fianza está programada en $2,000.
That's an Orange County case, so if you don't post bond, they will transport you back to Orange County, and your lawyer there will address your case to the assigned judge.
Si usted no sale bajo fianza, el condado de Orange va a venir a buscarlo y entonces enfocarán su caso allá. El abogado suyo allá enfocará el caso en el condado de Orange.
I previously ordered that the public defender's office would be provisionally appointed to represent you.
Yo había indicado anteriormente que las oficinas del defensor público han sido designadas de manera provisional para que los representen.
If you wish to have court-appointed counsel, when you get to Orange, you'll need to complete the required financial affidavit, and if you qualify, the court will appoint counsel at that time.
Si usted desea que se le designe al defensor público sin condiciones, cuando usted llegue al condado de Orange, tiene que completar la solicitud para el defensor público. Si usted reúne requisitos, se le designará el defensor público sin condiciones.
And you also have the right to hire an attorney if you wish.
Y usted también tiene el derecho a contratar su propio abogado si es que lo desea.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Clark?
Licenciada Clark, ¿algo más?
Yes, Your Honor. I was here yesterday with Mr. Rodriguez Nunez, and we made a deal. He had a plea deal to get out, and I'm just wondering if the warrant was verified. I didn't get a copy of the warrant to make sure that it's not old, because I assume that would have been brought up yesterday during the plea deal.
Su señoría, yo estuve aquí ayer con el señor Rodríguez Núñez y hablamos sobre un convenio para que él pudiera salir. No pudieron modificar la orden de arresto, no sé si es una orden antigua, no sé si eso se acabó de tramitar.
I didn't handle first appearances yesterday, so I'm not certain. Mr. Card, do you have any notes about that?
Yo no tramité las comparecencias iniciales ayer, así que por lo tanto no tengo apuntes. Señor Card, ¿tiene usted alguna información sobre eso? No tenemos información.
I couldn't find anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Gracias.
All right. Anyone? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Your Honor. May the interpreter be excused.
Yes, sir. Take care and have a great weekend.
You as well, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. That brings us to Mr. Muhammad Ali Saez. Case number F063285A out of Miami-Dade. Good afternoon, Mr. Saez. You were arrested, sir, on a probation violation warrant out of Dade County, and there is zero bond there. So you'll be transported back to Miami-Dade, where you will be addressed by the judge there. As I said before, the public defender's been appointed to assist you today. You'll need to apply for public defender representation down in Miami-Dade if you want court-appointed counsel. Otherwise, you can hire counsel there as well. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, then our next case will be Orange County case 2021 CF 4058. And this is Eric Andrell Paris.
He's approaching, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Paris.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Sir, you were arrested on this warrant out of Orange County for alleged violation of probation. There is no bond, so you're also going to be transported back to Orange County where you'll see the assigned judge. If you wish to have court-appointed counsel in Orange, you'll need to complete the required financial affidavit there. The court would then appoint counsel if you qualify. You can also hire counsel if you wish, okay?
I think you have a question, Your Honor.
I'll see if I can answer it.
Well, it's possible to understand how soon it might be able to transport.
I have no idea. That's a function of the two jails, and I have no jurisdiction over their operations.
And also the hearing date, following hearing date.
Do we know if there's a hearing date in Orange? No. Yeah, Madam Clerk advises we don't know. We don't have any information about a hearing date in Orange.
I apologize, sir.
All right, thank you. Sorry. All right. The next cases are for Angela Wanti, 2022 CF 632 and 2022 CF 623. Ma'am, how do you pronounce your last name?
Guanti.
One more time?
Guanti.
Guante. Okay. All right, Ms. Guanti. The state has charged you with possession of cocaine in case number 2022 CF 632. You were arrested on the capias in that case, and there is probable cause as determined by the judge who issued the warrant, and I agree with that determination. In case number, flip over to 2022 CF 623, you were arrested on the charge of selling cocaine, and there is probable cause for that charge as well. All right, I've provisionally appointed the Office of the Public Defender to assist you today. All right, you do qualify for direct pretrial release in both cases, it appears. Is that correct?
Correct,
I'm sorry?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm going to order that your bonds be reduced and that you be released on pretrial release conditions. They will instruct you with regard to those conditions there at the jail.
Would that be today, sir?
I assume so, but the officer will talk to you about that, okay?
Do I have a court date, though?
No, no. One case hasn't been filed on yet. One case was just filed on. So you'll be getting notice of an arraignment. Of course, you have to appear at court for all of those proceedings.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, 2022 CF 1259, Leon McCrimmon.
Your Honor, we'd like to waive the reading of the charges in this case.
All right. Afternoon, Mr. McCrimmon.
How you doing?
All right, sir, you were arrested on 6 charges. The public defender has waived the reading of each of the charges.
Yes, sir. I've also advised him who he can and cannot have contact with. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
You've been advised what?
He's been advised of who he can and cannot have contact with, and I apologize for interrupting you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions, Mr. McCrimmon, about who you can and cannot have contact with?
No,
All right, well, there is probable cause for the arrest as determined by the judge who issued the warrant, and I concur with that determination after my independent review of the affidavit. You're entitled to hire an attorney, and as I said before, the public defender has been temporarily appointed to represent you. If you qualify after you complete the required affidavit, the court will appoint counsel unconditionally if that's what you want. Officer, is it true that he qualifies for direct pretrial release based on these charges?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the charges, he qualifies for direct PCR.
Does he have history?
Yes, Your Honor. He has a total of 25 prior arrests dating back to 1998, multiple failure to appears, cocaine possession, manufacturing, resisting without violence, the charge that he's currently here for, most recently in 2011 for an aggravated battery, possession of marijuana, BOP, robbery with a firearm which was dropped, and that's it.
How many failures to appear? How does someone with that many failures to appear qualify for direct pretrial release? I guess they're checking in with you.
Your Honor, are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm just surprised that someone with that history qualifies for pretrial release.
Your Honor, we take into consideration the charge, whether or not it qualifies based on the administrative order, and the history determines their risk level.
So someone with 5 failures to appear qualifies as low risk?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, and speaking to my client, he's not aware of the failures to appear. I was going to ask when the last one was, but according to him, he does not have any failure to appear.
Well, based on the nature of the charge, and then based especially in light of what I'm advised by the officer, I don't think pretrial release is.
Your Honor, I never had a failure to appear.
Mr. McCrimmon, it's all right. This is just first appearance. All right, I'm going to set bond at $500 per count for a total of $3,000. All right, and then that will be with pretrial release conditions. I think that's appropriate given the nature of the allegations and given the history that I've been told about. That's also not a significant bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Card. All right, Mr. Card, anything else on that one?
Nothing further from the
All right,
state.
thank you, Mr. McCrimmon. All right, Julio Armando Ramos Matos. He bonded, okay.
Your Honor, I had a quick question. From Ms. Angela Guanti, you said direct PTR, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Who was the one that bonded, Your Honor? I couldn't hear that.
That was the gentleman who had a failure to appear warrant. That was Julio Armando Ramos Matos.
Oh, okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Darren Collier, this is case number 2022 MM1029. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you were arrested on a couple of misdemeanor charges, possession of drug paraphernalia and violation of a pretrial order in a domestic violence case. There is probable cause. You're out on bond in case number 2022 MM914. I'm going to make an on-view finding of violation of the no contact condition of that bond, so that bond will be revoked. Also, the new law charges would be a violation.
Your Honor, I hate to interrupt you. Could you speak up a little bit? Your voice is going in and out.
I'm sorry. I said yes, he's out on bond in case number 2022 MM914. The probable cause determination in 2022 MM1029 and the violation of the no contact order supports my determination to revoke bond in case number 914. And I'm going to set that bond at 0. In this case, I'm going to set the bond on the violation of pretrial pretrial order on domestic violence case at $3,500 and on the drug paraphernalia case at $150. So I'm going to reduce that paraphernalia to $150. Or yeah, to $150. All right, and then $3,500 on the violation count. All right, conditions of the bond are going to be you may not have any contact with the alleged victim in case number 914. You may not return to the location of the offenses in either case. You may not, you must maintain a separate residence. You may return to the shared residence one time with law enforcement to obtain personal effects. You may not possess any weapons or firearms while these cases are pending.
Your Honor, just to make sure the bond was revoked on one of the charges.
On 914, okay. Case number 914, yes. Okay, anything further, Mr. Card?
Nothing further from the state.
Okay. And nothing from you, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, our next case will be 2022 MM1030. This is Washington Concepcion. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
So you were arrested for misdemeanor assault, domestic violence. I reviewed the affidavit. There is probable cause. You qualify for direct PTR, pretrial release conditions with a bond. We don't have any witnesses here. So I'm going to, after reviewing the affidavit, I'm going to set your bond at $500 with pretrial release conditions. I'm going to order no contact with the alleged victim. You must maintain a separate residence. You can return one time with law enforcement to obtain any personal belongings you need. You may not possess any weapons or firearms while the case is pending. I previously appointed the public defender for today's purposes. You can hire an attorney, or if you qualify after you complete the required affidavit, the court would appoint the public defender to represent you, okay?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just for clarification, that was 500 with PTR, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. So the next case is 2022 MM1031, Yuri Contreras Uribe, or Uribe. Ma'am, tell me how to correctly pronounce your name, please.
Yuri Contreras Uribe. Uribe.
Uribe, okay, great. Thank you. All right, ma'am, you were arrested in this case for misdemeanor battery. I reviewed the affidavit, and I do find probable cause. It looks like you did not live at the location where the alleged incident occurred. So I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victim, no return to the location. You may not possess any weapons or firearms in this case. You're actually out on bond in case number 2022 CF 355 in Orange County. Based on the probable cause determination in the Osceola County case, I'm going to revoke the bond in the Orange County case, order that you be held on zero bond, and the judge in Orange County will address any new bond in that case.
Your Honor, for correction, it's CT, not CF.
I'm sorry?
It's a CT case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. It looked like an F to me. It's a driving under the influence, and based on the nature of the new law offense, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. 2022 MM1032. Marianne Helly, Cruz Gonzalez. Good afternoon, ma'am. Did I get your name halfway correct?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Ma'am, you were arrested on 2 charges: misdemeanor assault on a law enforcement officer or firefighter, EMT, and resisting or obstructing an officer without violence. There is probable cause. All right. Need to set bond, and I need to set bond conditions. The charges don't really reflect the court's concern based on the allegations in the affidavit. So it's filed as a non-domestic, but there was a firearm involved. According to the information sheet, you qualify for direct pretrial release. Officer, what can you tell me about Ms. Cruz Gonzalez's history?
Your Honor, she has history dating back to 2001 through 2007 for driving without a valid driver's license, a DUI, and a battery. She has had no prior history within the past 7 years. She did score a low risk, and she does qualify for direct PTR.
All right, thank you. Yeah. All right. All right, ma'am. I'm going to order that you be released. I'm going to reduce your bond to direct pretrial release conditions. I'm going to also add the condition that you attend an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at least 1 time per week.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to order that you not possess any weapons or firearms. That's going to mean there cannot be any weapons or firearms in the home.
The problem is,
How many times did she go to the alcohol?
1 time per week. Yeah.
Go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm suspecting she was about to tell me that someone else keeps weapons or firearms in the home. Is that correct? Yeah. So that person is either going to have to agree to remove those items or to store them somewhere else, or they'll have to go stay somewhere else. I can't order you to go stay somewhere else because of the nature of the, if this had been a domestic violence charge, I would have ordered you to go live somewhere else. But because it wasn't, you weren't arrested on that type of charge, I can't. But no weapons or firearms in the home. And you may not have any hostile contact with anyone in the home. Okay? Yes.
PTR can't supervise the Alcohol Anonymous class, but we can do weekly drug testing or alcohol testing.
Well, yeah, I don't want to do that because it seems Ms. Cruz-Gonzalez has a significant issue, and I hope she gets better, and I want to do things that maybe help her and not set her up. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I understand your limitations on supervising, and that's okay. It's not an issue unless the court learns that she has been non-compliant. If the court learns of any non-compliance, then the pretrial release would be revoked. So you can supervise what you all supervise to the extent you can. I'm relying on Ms. Cruz-Gonzalez's good faith with regard to Alcoholics Anonymous. She can certainly, why don't I order this? Ms. Cruz-Gonzalez, you have written confirmation from a sponsor at Alcoholics Anonymous of your attendance, and you provide that weekly to pretrial release.
That's okay, Your Honor.
I think that's a good way to validate attendance. The other conditions, that'll just be up to whatever the court might happen to learn or not. Okay? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Question, Your Honor. Can I just have 30 seconds to explain that to her really quickly?
Sure.
We're ready, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 2020 CT 653 and 2022 CF 1300, India Forbes.
Approaching, Your Honor.
What is the other legal constraint referenced on the information sheet?
1 second, Your Honor. Your Honor, it's the current charge for the FTA hearing.
Oh, okay, so it's, all right, that makes sense. All right, so Ms. Forbes, good afternoon. You were arrested on a warrant for failure to appear at a violation of probation status hearing in case number 2020 CT 653. The bond is set at 0 in that particular case. In case number 2022 CF 1300, you were arrested on 4 charges. Possession of a controlled substance without a prescription are the first 2 charges. Possession of cocaine is the 3rd charge, and possession or use of drug paraphernalia is the 4th charge. There is probable cause for those charges.
Your Honor, for clarification, the other legal constraint is she failed to appear for her VOP hearing.
Right, and that's the subject of the warrant in 653.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, she did fail to appear for that VOP status hearing. She did come to court, though. That's where she was arrested at. She just showed up late.
I don't know what may or may not have happened. I know I read that in the affidavit that she was arrested on these other charges at the courthouse, but Judge Sanders-Morency didn't revise, and I don't know if it came to her attention or not, so that's going to need to go to Judge Sanders-Morency's attention since that was set at 0. All right, so with regard to bond on the 2022 case, I'm going to reduce bond to and I think it's going to, reducing it's still going to be the same amount of money out of pocket, I think. But I'm going to reduce bond on counts 1, 2, and 3 to $250 on each count. And I'm going to reduce the drug paraphernalia to ROR. So it's going to be a total bond of $750 as opposed to $3,500. All right, the conditions of bond will be no possession or use of any drugs or narcotics without a valid prescription. And I believe that's all. I've provisionally appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, ma'am. If you wish to have court-appointed counsel, you'll need to complete the required affidavit. Otherwise, you can hire counsel as well. All right, thank you. Justice Harvey, 2022 CF 1301. Afternoon, Mr. Harvey.
Good evening, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Harvey, you were arrested on third-degree charge of domestic battery by strangulation and the first-degree misdemeanor of resisting arrest without violence. I reviewed the affidavits, and I do find probable cause. Public defender has been provisionally appointed. You can hire counsel, or after you complete the required affidavit, if you qualify and if you want court-appointed counsel, the court would do that at that time. All right. Conditions of bond. I need to set a bond on count 1. There's no witness here for this particular case. So I'm going to set bond at $2,500 on count 1. I'll leave count 2 at $500 for a total bond of $3,000. Conditions of bond are: you may not have contact with the alleged victims. You may not return to the location of the alleged offense. You may not possess any weapons or firearms while the case is pending. I don't recall that you lived at that address. If you did live at that address, I'll allow a one-time return with law enforcement to obtain personal belongings. The affidavit wasn't clear about that, so. Anything further, Mr. Card?
Nothing further from the state.
All right, Mr. Clark, or Ms. Clark?
1 second. That's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, Darius Jamar, 2022 CF 1302. Okay, thank you. Absolutely. Good afternoon, Mr. Jamar.
Hello.
Can you tell me, officer, what history Mr. Jamar has, if any?
Your Honor, he has no no part in or out-of-state history.
Okay, good deal. So you were arrested on 10 different charges. The public defender can talk to you about those charges. She has advised that you're aware of the charges and the nature of who you can and cannot have contact with. If you have any questions about that, address them to the public defender, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree that you understand who you can and cannot have contact with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. All right, sir. What kind of work do you do, sir?
I work full-time at 7-Eleven.
Okay. How many dependents do you have?
I have one dependent. It's my little brother.
Your daughter?
Little brother.
Oh, little brother. Okay. Are you the primary caregiver?
No, my mother is.
Okay. All right, Mr. Card, what's your, this is a pretty significant bond for someone who works at 7-Eleven. What's the state's position? And for someone who has no history.
State would not have an objection to the court reducing this to a more reasonable bond considering the circumstances that have been presented. State would still ask that there be a bond in the case and thinks it would be appropriate just considering the charges if the bond was above or somewhere around at least $1,000 per count. That's at least the state's idea looking at the case.
Okay, thank you. And there is probable cause, I should add. I have reviewed the affidavit, and there is probable cause. Ms. Clark, would you like to be heard with regard to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I feel that if the bond amount was closer to $500 per charge, that would still be significant for someone in his line of work. But that may allow him to be able to pay and be able to make bond. I think the other amount that the state recommended would still be too high.
I mean, we're basically double. We're talking about a 10% bond. We're talking about 500 or 1,000 would come out of his pocket.
And with someone with his income, the 500 might be more than a week or even sometimes 2 weeks worth of pay.
Right. No, I get it. And I mean, the charges are significant. I don't mean to downplay the charges. They are significant, but Mr. Jamar does not have a prior history and scores as a low risk. And considering that and the purpose for bond in the first place, I'm going to reduce the bond. I'll go along with Ms. Clark's suggestion. I'm going to reduce bond to $500 per count. Although, you know, that may still require a minimum payment per bond, which may still take it to the $1,000 mark, you know, as a practical matter. I don't really know how the bond sureties charge, but I believe it may be 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know enough about that to say either.
Yeah, but in any event, for what it's worth, I'll reduce it to $500 per count for a total bond of $5,000. Conditions of bond are going to be no contact. How old's your brother, sir?
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you.
How old's your brother?
He's turning 18 next year.
All right. All right. No.
Your Honor, just to clarify, his brother lives in Ohio.
Oh, okay. I'm going to order no unsupervised contact with minors. There can be incidental contact at work in connection with.
Couldn't hear you, Your Honor. We only heard at work.
Yeah, I said there can be unintentional or incidental contact with minors at work for business purposes only. Okay?
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Card? Mr. Card?
Sorry. Just
anything else?
Second. Nothing further from the state.
All right. Ms. Clark, anything else?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Repeat the contact at work?
No contact, no unsupervised contact with minors, although he can have incidental contact with minors at work for business purposes only. All right, Christopher Malave, this is case number 2022 CF1303. All right, good afternoon, sir. Sir, you're arrested on 4 charges: burglary of an unoccupied structure, grand theft of more than $750, less than $5,000, criminal mischief of $200 or less, and possession of burglary tools. All right, there is probable cause. As I previously said, the public defender is provisionally appointed today. You can hire an attorney, or if you wish to have court-appointed counsel, you can complete the required affidavit, and if you qualify, the court will appoint counsel then. I'm going to leave your bond at $3,500 on count 1. I'll leave the bonds on counts 2, 3, and 4 at $500 each. That's a total bond of $5,000. You're out on ROR in case number 2022 MM944. Based on the nature of the new law offense and the probable cause determination, I'm going to revoke the ROR order that you be held on 0 bond in 2022 MM944. All right, conditions of bond in the new case will be no return to the location of the offense, no contact with any employees of Old Town, I believe, isn't it? Fun Spot. No return to Fun Spot, no contact with employees of Fun Spot while on work duties, and I believe that's sufficient. Mr. Card, anything else?
Nothing further from the state.
Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. 2022 MM1033, Irving Morales. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Morales. Sir, you were arrested on 2 charges, retail theft, less than $750, that's called petty theft. That's a first-degree misdemeanor, and then also trespassing after warning at the Circle K in St. Cloud. There is probable cause. And based on the nature of the offense, the repetitive nature of the offense, I believe that a bond is appropriate. So I'm going to leave bond set as currently set at $250 per count, for a total of $500. Conditions of bond include no return to the Circle K at 613 13th Street in St. Cloud, no contact with any employees of that location.
Hey, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to go and pay for those refills. You know.
Okay. All right, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, sir. I believe that's all I need to address. Mr. Card, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Morales. All right, Tony Norris, 2022 CF 1304. Mr. Norris, good afternoon. I'm told that you have hired a private attorney, is that right?
Yes, sir. My fiance did for me, yes.
Do you know who it is?
I don't know. Her name is Christina something, but I don't know exactly her name.
Okay, but you have private counsel, so I'm going to rescind the provisional appointment of the public defender in your case then. If something changes and you want a court-appointed lawyer, if you qualify, based on the nature of your work, I don't think you would qualify, but if you did qualify, the court would appoint counsel after you complete the required affidavit, okay? But I'm going to assume you've got private counsel as you're representing currently. So you're charged with third-degree felony of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. I've read the affidavit of arrest, and there is probable cause. It seems like you were not acquainted with the alleged victims, but nevertheless, I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victims. This was not at any definitive location, so I don't need to order no return. I'm going to order that you not possess any weapons or firearms while the case is pending. I believe the firearm involved, or at least that was recovered from your vehicle, was taken by law enforcement. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So if you have any other firearms at home, you're going to have to surrender those as part of the terms of your release. But you do qualify for pretrial release with a bond. So I'm going to grant a bond of $1,000 with the conditions I've announced, and also with pretrial release conditions. All right. Do you have any questions?
Sir, when you say I surrender, who do I surrender them to, or can my father?
You want to know who he surrenders his firearms?
Yeah, well, anyone who can keep you from having them. So it can be a family member who lives somewhere else. You can't have them in your home or in your vehicle, and you can't have access to them while the case is pending.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Card?
Nothing from the state.
All right, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ariel Perez, 2022 MM 1034.
One second, Your Honor, they're approaching on the case.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. Officer, what can you tell me about this individual's history?
Yes, Your Honor. She has a history dating back to 2019, drug equipment, marijuana. possession, petty theft. She was found guilty, indecent exposure, that was dropped, trespassing in 2019 as well, an FTA in 2020, and aggravated assault, which was dropped. She has been placed on pretrial release multiple times and has not been compliant while on it, even though she does qualify for PTR at this time.
Okay. You're using the feminine pronoun. Is it your preferred pronoun, she and her?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm a trans woman, and I don't remember ever having marijuana, any charges of marijuana.
All right. Well, you were arrested on this case. I was just asking about the history because of what is written on the paper in front of me. In this case, you're just charged with a misdemeanor charge of trespassing on property. There is probable cause. You do qualify for direct pretrial release. So I'm going to reduce your bond and order that you be released on direct pretrial release. You may not return to the location of the offense.
Definitely not.
All right, and
would that be today? I'm sorry.
I assume so, but that's in somebody else's domain. Mr. Card, is there anything further I need to do on Ms. Perez's case?
Nothing further.
Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, John Phillips, 2022 CF 1305. All right, Mr. Phillips, good afternoon. Sir, you were charged with the crimes of possessing a controlled substance without a prescription, specifically methamphetamine, and possession or use of drug paraphernalia. That's a misdemeanor. There is probable cause. You do qualify for direct pretrial release, so I'm going to reduce your bonds and order that you be released on pretrial release conditions. You may not use any drugs or narcotics without a valid prescription, and you will be randomly tested. So if you want to stay out of jail, stay away from those items, okay? I've appointed the public defender provisionally to represent you today. If you wish to be represented by them unconditionally in the case, you'll need to complete the required affidavit. If you qualify, the court will appoint counsel at that time, okay? All right, anything further, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, anything else, Mr. Card?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, for clarification, that's random UA for both alcohol and drugs?
Just drugs.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, Elizabeth Romero, 2022 MM1035. That's Elizabeth Romero. All right, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, you were arrested on 3 charges, all misdemeanors, 2 counts of battery and 1 count of resisting arrest without violence. I need to set bond on the first 2 counts. I have reviewed the affidavit. There is probable cause. Does Ms. Romero have a history?
She has no prior history, Your Honor, in or out of state.
All right. All right, I'm going to set bond on counts 1 and 2 at $500 each. I'll leave the bond at $500 on count 3, so a total bond of $1,500. All of those are with pretrial release conditions. Ms. Romero, based on the nature of the charges, and because it does involve domestic violence, I'm going to order that you have no contact with the alleged victims. You must maintain a separate residence. You can return one time with law enforcement to obtain your personal belongings, and you may not possess any weapons or firearms while this case is pending, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything further, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and you're entitled to be represented by a lawyer. I've appointed the public defender to help you today. If you want to be represented by a court-appointed lawyer, you'll need to complete the required affidavit. And if you qualify, one will be appointed. Otherwise, you can hire an attorney, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Card?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Joshua Sugar, 2022 CF 1306. Can you tell me what the open legal constraint is on Mr. Sugar? Oh, the sound is off.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's all right.
I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
I was asking pretrial release what the open legal constraint is on Mr. Sugar.
Yes, Your Honor. He has an active warrant out of Texas for theft.
Okay.
Petty theft.
All right. Mr. Sugar, good afternoon. Sir, you were arrested on three charges, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer with a blunt object. Specifically, I believe it was a tire iron. Criminal mischief of $1,000 or more, and burglary of an auto while armed or becoming armed. There is probable cause. You're entitled to be represented by a lawyer. I appointed the public defender today to assist you. If you want to be unconditionally represented by a court-appointed lawyer, you'll need to complete the required affidavit, and the court would appoint a lawyer at that time if you qualified. You also can hire an attorney. I'm going to set bond in this case at I'm going to increase the bond on count 1 to $3,500. I'm going to reduce the bond on count 2 to $500. And I'm going to set the bond on count 3 at $500. So that will be a total bond of $4,500. All right. Conditions of bond are you may not return to Osceola Regional Medical Center at 700 West Oak Street. You may not possess any weapons or firearms while you are on release in this case. May not have contact with any victim or witness. All right. Anything else, Mr. Card?
Nothing further.
Anything else, Ms. Clark?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sugar. That brings us to our final case, Reginald Warren, 2022 MM 1036. How you doing, Mr. Warren? All right. Mr. Warren, you were arrested in this case on misdemeanor battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. You do qualify for pretrial release conditions with a bond. What kind of work do you do, sir?
Currently,
I'm sorry?
I said currently I'm at home keeping my 3-year-old at the moment.
All right. Well, unfortunately, this case is going to complicate that. All right. Based on what I read in the affidavit, and we don't have any witnesses here, I'm going to set a low bond, but I'm also going to impose some other conditions which are pretty standard in this kind of case. Going to set your bond at $500 with pretrial release conditions. It looks like the alleged victim did not want you to be in jail. at least according to what was said to law enforcement. And there's certainly no reported history. So I think the low bond is appropriate, but based on the nature of the charge, and because there is probable cause, I'm going to order that you maintain a separate residence. You may not have contact with the alleged victim except through third parties with regard to time sharing with the children. So you can communicate through someone else, but that has to be non-hostile communication. And you can have visitation arranged and facilitated by that third party. I'll allow you to return to the home one time with law enforcement to obtain any personal belongings that you need, but you'll need to maintain a separate residence, okay? All right, anything further, Ms. Clark?
No, Your Honor, that's it for today. Thank you very much.
And I would also order no weapons or firearms while you're on release in this case, okay? Mr. Card, anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much.
Bond court is a free service, but it takes several hours of my time every day. Less than 10% of Bond court viewers hit the like button, and less than 1% leave a comment. If you want Bond court to continue to be available on YouTube for free, then please hit the like button and leave a comment on all of my videos.